It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. You're tuning into your Feel Good Breakfast Show. This is Expresso only on SABC3. Now, as we come to the end of another week, it's time for us to take a look back on the big stories in the tech world this morning with our expert editor of bandwidthblog.com, Tienus Janssen van Rensburg. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you very much.
Lovely to have you. All right, some couple of big stories, man. I know that in the news headlines, obviously, there were big stories taking a look at Parliament, what happened in Parliament this week. But also in terms of politics, Netflix and Disney. What is happening there?
Right, so they have for a long time have had a very fruitful partnership, right? So Netflix being the biggest streaming service in the world, they have exclusive access to a lot of Disney content. So things like Marvel movies, Star Wars movies, and obviously all of the Disney animated movies are exclusive to Netflix. So no other streaming service has access to these movies.
Yeah.
Now it seems that Disney wants to start their own streaming service, which means they're going to be pulling all of that content from Netflix.
Wow.
So it's going to be very interesting to see how Netflix fill that void, because it's a very big part of that big pool to get customers to use their service. So in the next year or two, we should see Disney come out with its own streaming service, and then we'll have to see what Netflix does to actually combat this move.
Combat that, yeah, because I mean they were driving very hard. I mean to up growth over the past couple of months or years.
Yeah, and they're doing really well.
They're doing really well, yeah. Geez, that's going to be very interesting.
Very interesting.
Bring it a little bit closer to home, ICASA and the new mobile data regulations. Good news, bad news, what was happening?
Well, we think it's very good news for consumers, and that's the most important part. Unfortunately, it's not data must fall yet. we're hopefully getting there soon, so the prices aren't necessarily dropping yet. Okay. But they are tabling some new regulations where, don't you just hate that feeling when you've just bought a data bundle and then you don't use it and it expires?
How's that?
It's
so
so
what's the deal with that?
So that might stop now.
Okay.
So these regulations are going to give a longer time span that these data bundles have to be valid for. So for example, if you buy a between a 1 and 50 megabyte data bundle, it has to be valid for at least 10 days. If you go up to 5 gigabytes, for example, it has to be valid for 90 days. Okay. And if you buy a big data bundle of 20 gigs plus, it has to be valid for up to 24 months.
Wow.
So this is actually a very good protection for the consumer, in that you're spending all this money on data that's very expensive, and a lot of people are losing their bundles without even using the most of it. The other part of this regulation is saying that you have to actually notify the customer as they're working through this bundle. So they have to get notifications on 50% usage, 75, then 90, and then when it's fully used up. The telco have to give the customer that notification.
Look, I'm sure it's going to be a bit of a saving as well for lower end users, especially buying smaller data bundles, not having that time constraint.
Exactly,
Listen, just quickly before we wrap up, a rather interesting one, a brand new cell phone or smartphone that has been unveiled by a company that makes high-end digital kind of camera or digital film, basically. Yeah,
so they are touting their new, well, they haven't made it official, they've kind of given some people a sneak peek, their new modular smartphone.
Wow, okay.
So you can see it looks really rugged, it looks like...
It looks different.
It looks very different, it's very industrial. It kind of looks like a smartphone had a baby with a tractor. It's very interesting, but the idea behind it is that you've got this modular piece of camera equipment, because this company Red is renowned for their high quality cameras. So they are saying, instead of just having a pretty good smartphone camera, how about we make a smartphone built for a good camera in a smaller phone factor? We're very excited to see where they go with this concept. It's going to be launched in the next 30 to 45 days. We're not exactly sure when, but it's going to shake up the smartphone market in terms of those people that actually want to use their phones for proper cinematography.
It looks like it's got a serious camera in there, man. Tienus, thank you very much for joining us, man. Just giving us an update of all those big tech stories that's been making rounds this week.